Hello, I'm Jill Watkins. I believe you'll be watching this around about New Year, so I'd just like to wish you all a Happy New Year. We're going to read a few verses from Luke chapter 2. 40 days after Jesus' birth, Joseph and Mary took the child to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord as the law required. At that time there was a man named Simeon living in Jerusalem. He was a good, God-fearing man and was waiting for Israel to be saved. The Holy Spirit was with him and had assured him that he would not die before he had seen the Lord's promised Messiah. Led by the Spirit, Simeon went into the temple. When the parents brought the child Jesus into the temple to do for him what the law required, Simeon took the child in his arms and gave thanks to God. "Now, Lord, you have kept your promise, and you may let your servant go in peace. With my own eyes I have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the presence of all peoples." I wonder if you've ever thought about who's your favourite character in the Christmas story. Well, mine is Simeon, and I think what I love about him is his persistence, his steadfast faithfulness to God, probably over many years. I imagine he may have been dismissed or even ridiculed by others around him. We can flick over a single page in our Bibles to move from the book of Malachi at the end of the Old Testament to the Gospel of Matthew at the beginning of the New, but in fact there's a 400-year gap. There have been no prophecies from God for 400 years, yet Simeon is convinced not just that the Old Testament prophecies of the coming Messiah will be fulfilled, but that it will happen in his lifetime. You can imagine people rolling their eyes at his stubborn persistence. We don't actually know how old Simeon was. We can guess from his words that he was elderly. So down the years he went on believing what he had heard from God, that it was true and would be fulfilled. And it wasn't just passive, resigned attitude. He's not thinking, oh well, if God's promised it, I guess he'll do it sooner or later. What can I do? No, Simeon was waiting actively. We read that he was a good, God-fearing man and was waiting for Israel to be saved, and that led by the Spirit he went into the temple. Sounds like he was actively dwelling in the presence of God, perhaps reminding him of his promise, longing for it to be fulfilled and never giving up that confident hope. So what about us? What has God said to you or promised you in the past, perhaps through the scriptures or a word of prophecy? Are you just numbly waiting, drifting through life, passively waiting for God to do something? Let's live in real, active, daily hope as Simeon did, dwelling in God's presence, telling him what we are longing for, and putting our hope in him day by day to do what he has promised. Thank you.